All right. What character is this? Well, that's a good question. And if we see here, you'll see that it is a Nightlord. Very appropriate for you, Vidello. 160p stream quality is lit. Wait, 160p? You gotta turn it up. It should be working in full Monty. But okay, let's help you out. So this is just the equip progression sessions are going to be a lot shorter than the other ones.
Yeah.
Basically meaning that this person here already knows all of the ins and outs and all the basics and is really just looking for point A to point B, or at least just progress specifically on the equip front. So take me through these main objectives. I'll read as you talk about it. I kind of see how it all moves together.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I pretty much have the same problems as everyone else, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make meso, don't really know how to spend it.
Mm-hmm.
And so specifically to my situation, I'm starting to accrue some arcanes.
Mm-hmm.
Currently everything's sitting at like 16, 17 star, but I'm trying to figure out kind of what to optimize around in terms of upcoming events. I heard rumors about what's coming around the corner.
Which rumors?
I don't know if they're actually substantiated, but I heard there's maybe a cube sale around Black Friday.
Mm-hmm. It's more often than not the case.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, whether you want to count on that or not is always up to you. But I would give it like a decent chance. Yeah.
Okay. And then I just assumed there'd be some kind of Star Force event in the next Sunday rotation, just because this one was so dog shit. But that might not be true, historically speaking.
And then, I'm expecting one of the two. Yeah.
Okay. And then maybe a Shining sometime in January, based on what KMS is doing.
Yeah.
Or based on Ignition, but I don't know if any of that is actually confirmed at all. But that's kind of just what I've been working off of high level.
Yeah, none of any of these is confirmed, but most of them I would say have like a greater than 50% chance of happening. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And so yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to spend my meso and budget around kind of key milestones, because I also don't want to be like saving a shit ton of money for events only for like my character to be functionally in the same spot as it was before in terms of milestones. Like, I'd say currently my character's in a pretty good spot where I'm consistently getting into like H-Luo runs, which is what I need on this character since it's only like 2 or 3 months old.
Okay.
And so for me, like, obviously spending all my money right now to upgrade my character wouldn't actually go very far, just because I would go from like maybe 5 trill 42nd to like 5.5, which is like not that big of a jump, functionally speaking.
Okay, because your party's clearing, but you don't have a static party?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But yeah, it made it sound like you're kind of like scattering it every week, but you managed to get it on.
I have a static when we do run it. It's not super consistent because we're all working.
Okay.
And then when we don't run, I usually just smack it and get into one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Been using the boss menu at all? Has that worked out for you?
Not at all. I hate the new UI.
Yeah, new UI is very scuffed.
It's so like 2007. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the new one that came out in Korea is way better, right?
Yeah, that one looks nice.
Looks really nice.
That one looks nice.
They basically admitted that the current one was just kind of work in progress.
Right. Yeah,
minimum viable products just to slap it on there.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, in terms of like current situation, I work full time, so I probably play like 2 to 4 hours a day. Usually between like dailies, totem, all that stuff. Occasionally Oz if I'm feeling
extra adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I hate myself, do some Oz.
And then in terms of bossing mules, my previous main was an Aaron. This account's like really old. I only picked it up for Destiny again. So my Iran was a previous main, and that's doing like HMAG, CPAP, Akechi, those guys. And then I started funding a Shadow at the start of Ignition, and then realized I didn't like animation canceling. So that's up to like 3-door Pinot, like another like 700 mil a week. And then I have a few character in the wings that I'm thinking about funding, either just between now and Ignition or for the hyper burning.
Okay.
But I haven't decided yet. But I know for a fact I will be funding one at some point in the next 6 months. I just haven't figured out like timing, basically, and class.
Yeah, you'll get to that point where every single upgrade available on your main just gets so expensive that it makes more sense to put all of that money just into like 2 boss mules and then make your money back by the time the next event rolls around anyway.
So, question on that. I mean, I'm not really sure, based on your experience, how much meso goes into funding a boss mule to the point where like it's worth it, I guess. Because like obviously you're, I'm like 30k, so I'm not going to fund a boss mule to like 25, since that would just be an insane use of money. But to get it to like sort of where my Iran is in terms
your
of
Iran is, yeah. Yeah, so it's a bit rough to get. It really depends on the amount of resources you have available, because some of your resources are not expressed in meso, right? So some person who has like really high level could actually fund their character completely for free, just with like flames and cubes off of weeklies, a bunch of nodes that they have lying around, and maybe they spend like anywhere from like 0 to 5 bill just like legendary WSE, and that's pretty much it. And then 5 bill can get you to the point where you're like, your Aaron is around like what, like 17, 18k stat around there?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So technically you could do Lotus and Damien, but even with guild skills, the runs might be a little bit too long, so you might not have the time every week. That kind of situation.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a sweat, so I tend not to do it solo.
Or you have 2 sessions, or like one session of like those 2 and maybe a catchy, and then all the other ones in another session, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're trying to get to that point, you're probably like I would say like the very lowest point is if you could just trickle everything down from other characters. The very lowest point is like probably around like 4 to 5 bill. And then the high end is probably, if you're really trying to get everything to 11, you're trying like brute forcing it and that are faster, would be around double that.
Okay.
And then, but if you have enough nodes, you can be a little bit on the lower end, etc. If your Legion is really high, because you have a 6k Legion, so you probably will be around that. But if you have like closer to an 8k Legion, you can also go lower, because those gains from your Legion is going to take care of that upper like 5% extra that you're trying to put on top of all of your gear, and that's the most expensive 5%, right? But then instead is going to get replaced by your Legion, so you're getting free funding for your entire account. So if you're trying to go more in width and you're trying to get more characters activated as bossing mules, working on your Legion more is just going to give you that much more funding for all of your account and save you a lot of money in the long run.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially if some of those characters are going to need buff duration, because then you'll be able to go like enough crit rate, crit damage, IED, boss damage, and buff duration, right? You'll be able to fill a little bit of all of that, and that's gonna, the value in that is crazy. Adding up all the level 2 and level 3 links, it's compounding.
That makes sense. I think the bigger cost of bossing mules for me isn't necessarily the hard meso. It's like the opportunity cost. Mainly because I don't have a second account for like extra totems, and so essentially like every totem that I use on a bossing mule to level it is essentially costing me like 1.8, 1.9 bill, sort of, if you get what I mean.
Sort of, yeah.
Like, I'm not really putting mess or drop gear or like a vac pet on my bossing mules.
They'll make like like 200 an hour at most.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like 150 to 200. Yeah, I got that. If it's boss mule, I wouldn't go for drop a meso like you said, because most situations they'll only like eventually maybe get up to 235, but mostly 225 to 230, something like that. So they won't really make the money back that well. So it makes more sense to just go like epic or unique accessories and everything, so that you can keep killing very easily and you don't have to worry about, like, you can keep all of that, more efficient lower tier upgrades and get those cheap upgrades, and you don't have to venture into legendary on everything. Like, you just do WSC legendary and everything else combination of epic and unique, and then as long as you get like a bunch of 9 and 12% out there, then you're good. You just do dailies for a little bit for some bonus stat, and then you're fine.
Okay.
I guess that's another one. You can also just fund it up to like 8k stat and then just do dailies forever, and then eventually eventually you'll catch up to like 18k stat as well, right?
Yeah, that's true. Most of my Iran's stat is just nodes.
Yeah.
Like Iran is actually not nodes.
The symbols, you mean? Yeah.
Like,
most of the side characters,
like 11k of it is.
Yeah, exactly. If a character was quote unquote like a side character of mine, there would be a certain tipping point when like around 18 to 20k stat, that a little bit more than half of the stat would actually be from, like, more would come from symbols than from everything else combined.
Yeah.
It's it's good that you could do that, because that way, you can pay for your stat with time if you have it.
Right. I haven't gotten to the point where I can do Urda Spectrum more than once a day. So one day I'll get there. Maybe when I finish my VJ symbol on this guy.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, once you're done with one, you could just go into the next one.
Destroys me.
Yeah, it's not your thing?
No. I would rather do 3 runs of Esper Guardian. Or the Spectrum just bothers me.
You don't like smacking like 6 of the balls to the side and then a giant explosion underneath it, and then like the panicky hitting it, trying to get them all out of this danger zone.
You don't get the worm, and then you're just sitting there for 2.5 minutes.
Oh, that, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the best, yeah. I could just get to read my chat in that time, so, you know, I'll make use of my time.
Yeah, right.
Just wail and spend more maple points. Yeah, that's one way out, I guess.
But yeah, that's pretty much where I am, and my sort of objectives. I think my account, I've watched a couple of the other gear progression videos in the past of like people at like 250, 255, and I feel like I'm in a similar spot where it's like spending any kind of money off event just feels very suboptimal. And so like when I'm thinking about those events, if I'm going to be saving for, you know, weeks and months on end, I just want to make sure that I'm spending my money properly.
Yeah, I always see the events. There's definitely a way that the events are a huge crutch, and if you do make a lot of money and you're scaling up with a lot of bossing mules and everything, you could definitely do some tapping off event, especially if you're still working up to like 19 full CRA or even up to 21 CRA. That's pretty doable, or even during a 30% offer, and it's not super ideal. You can still do it if you have a lot of backups. But the way that I like the events is that I don't have to worry about needing to Star Force, which can be pretty stressful or annoying, as long as there's no event, because I know that all of my money will just be worth more on the day of, and that takes a lot of stress off of it for me. But for some people, it makes it more stressful because then they're waiting. But I put in a lot of hours, but my hours aren't as efficient, so I'm just not as bothered with needing to make progress. I know I'll get there eventually. So
I'm probably more in the latter camp than the former camp. I think saving like an assload of money for a specific day's event probably stresses me out more than just like if it was more streamlined, I could just tap whenever I wanted to.
Yeah, and you'll get to the point where the upgrades are so expensive, you'll just need the amount of time in between the events to make the money to realistically make the upgrade. And without the money, you're more likely to be at like a neutral or even a loss. So it's kind of a blessing that you won't get tempted to throw all your money at it, and you'll only be invited to really spend when that event comes around.
Right.
So that's more how I try to see it.
So I guess that's a pretty good
someone's
segue.
At my door. Let me see if I can get rid of him real quick. Sorry, someone was parked in front of our gate. There's one neighbor who just always puts their car right in front of the gate. Sorry, yeah, you were saying.
No, so I guess the stuff about Star Force is a decent segue, because I think my biggest priority right now is switching from Abso to Arcane. I ran the calc based off like on different events and also off event, and I think it's like somewhere between 15 and 25 bill on average, if I'm, you know, hitting it on average. Yeah,
trying to go into 17s on all on 4, and then what's the situation with the weapon? Is that close?
It's getting there. It hasn't dropped for me yet. I've done like 6 or 7 H-Lu wills, and I haven't gotten it yet. I have pretty much the number of A cores that I would need to buy the weapon, but it just feels kind of bad, you know, bombing 216 A cores on a weapon. I don't know if that's the best thing to do if I don't get an Arcane drop before the next like Star Force event or something.
I mean, I probably would, yeah.
Okay. So in the case that I have like 5 set Arcanes, it'd be like 15 to 25 bill, I think, depending on the event. And so I guess my question is, first, how big do you think the jump is from 17 start Abso to Arcane in terms of like damage / progression? And then 2, like whether it's worth it to wait for a Star Force event, or what you were saying earlier, which is just like push for an off event. What do you think would be best?
So I would say like if you just get the weapon, I would always push that off event, because it's such a huge boost for like how relatively low the cost is. But if you're looking at like trying to do the whole set, and you're able to do the things you already want to do right now, I think patience there will pay off, because I'm fucking around a little bit with the calculator right now, but like,
yeah,
if you would send it like this, you're looking at 2.7 ish per piece, so that's 10. Oh no, that's during 5 to 15. Sorry. Yeah, you're looking at like 4 point, right? Like this.
5 bill. Yeah, it's rough.
So
like half the cost.
What I was just looking at, because we have the night troop coming. If you have no boom room, you don't have to safeguard at all up to 15.
Oh, okay.
That looks like a 1.2 bill average per piece. So you're getting like 4 pieces for the price of like 4 15s for the price of 117 off event.
Okay. I actually didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
There's a no boom room in Night
yeah.
Troop?
Yeah, part of Night Troop. It should be either the second or the third activation, so at the end of the second or the end of the third week. So hopefully like by around November. And then I would see if that combines in any way with a 5 10 15. If there's one, if there isn't one, you could just send it past maybe and see how much that is if there's no event.
But that would just be a free essentially like a free shiny sort of. No boom up to 15. I guess 30% off, so I'm not really going for 21 then.
Man, it's really just 15 to 17 that costs everything. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at...
Yeah, it's like 3 bill.
but then it's 1 during a 5 10 15, so you gotta have to wait, because it's like 5 pieces, 2 bill each. It's like 10 bill worth of potential and flames that you could be... Like weapon flame, you could easily drop like 5 6 bill on that, plus get the potential. I mean, your potentials are already pretty decent on all of them, but you can push a little bit harder with your flames, and you can even already start saving up for if you get another box or something. See if you can like slam something up to 19, right?
Yeah, right.
That's the beautiful thing.
I got a dupe of a glove, so I might just YOLO that one.
Yeah, the great thing is if you have a backup box, you could potentially
then you can just YOLO anything, and then it booms.
You could go from like full 17 to full 19 off of just one backup if you get lucky, no boom. And 17 to 19 is rather free. Like the boom chance is very low there. And then, because you're asking about how much it is, it's definitely a big upgrade from 17 to 19, but you have to include the weapon in that transfer. Otherwise, it's still relatively small upgrade, probably like around 5 to 10% final damage probably. But if you throw the weapon in there, it's quite a lot more. And then if you just quote unquote that one jump like 17 to 19 on the arcanes, that's just so much extra stat and weapon attack. Like that's going to be very massive as well. And I haven't seen exactly where all your stuff is at, but if your CRA is all at 21, it'll be like arcanes, and then getting all of the other accessories also to 21 or 20 or 21, right? Like the superiors and stuff and the extra rings, maybe Iron Face. Like that'll be the next step, and then after that, it's getting your arcane 17 to 19 basically.
Gotcha.
So you got to be looking at like fodder and that you've undoubtedly been keeping in your inventory. Yeah, exactly, like the pink bean belts, that kind of stuff. You reinforced earrings, you have some. That's one superior backup, I think, right?
Yeah, there's one superior backup.
Yeah, so hopefully the 20 to 21 tap will have a little bit of a safety net, a little bit of parachute.
Yeah, I think if I'm going for 20 to 21, I'm probably just going to transfer over my current ones. Just because the pot there is it's like a 3-line unique. Like there's no value there really. So I'm probably just gonna, whenever the next shiny is, just bomb it to 20 or 21 then. But that's a long ways out. I haven't really thought about my accessories outside of, the ones that I'm missing.
Let's see what the 2 scenarios are. So scenario 1, you have your current earring. You take a 21 reinforced. You transfer over it. It goes down to 20. It goes down to epic. Its potential is ruined anyway. You're gonna do it over. You try to go for 21. If it works, you have a backup earring for 22 later. If it doesn't work, then you have a 12-star epic potential that you can then safeguard back up to 17. If you keep your current earring and you have a 21 reinforced, you tap it into the 20 that's clean. You try to get that one to 21. If that doesn't work, you have your current earring back up with higher potential. If it does work, you have to redo your potential from rare instead of from epic.
Right.
So it's probably better to transfer into the other one you have. Because then your safety net will be bigger, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
in both situations. Yeah.
At least I keep like the 16, 17 star.
Yeah, you keep the and you keep the pot, and you don't have to
Right.
do the money to retick it up. So it's in both success and in failure, it's a better
Especially because the
option.
flame doesn't really matter.
No,
Like I guess.
like if it was
later
wait, let me check. Is it like a 120 flame score
No, the
superior?
flame is dog shit right now.
Yeah,
And it will be dog shit for a long time.
it was like 8 and
I
1
don't
all. Was it that or?
Yeah,
no,
it was.
Oh, that was about 16 and 1 all. Yeah, 24 and 2 attack. Yeah, it's right where you expect it to be. Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
No worries about that. Yeah, so it would do it that way, and then I guess with the belt, since you have a backup, you would do it that way as well.
Okay.
Maybe save a few more. Like of course for reinforced earrings, you can't really force it, but probably save a few more belts just to have a bit wider of a net, because.
Yeah, I've just been tossing them for now because I haven't really been thinking about it. But I think as it starts to come up, I'll probably have like 10 or 12 dupes.
Yeah, you'll have that one item. I don't know. You haven't gone like 21 CRA yet, but you have that one item that just likes to boom 14 times. And I guess you open up some CRA to see if you can get some juicy flames, or.
Yeah, for the last shiny, I opened them up. Last shiny, if you look at my CRAs, basically, I was still wearing like pencilier. Last shiny came around, so I just whatever money I had, I just bombed it into my penciliers, and I got a bunch of 18 and 19 stars just randomly.
Yep.
So I ended up transferring those over with decent flames, I'd say. I think my top flame is definitely pretty min settle, but the other two are
compared to the other two, but the other two are really good, so it's gonna look a little bit lower.
Right.
I've talked about this a bit, but if you have like really good flames, a lot of times people will increase their standard of their flame because it's like, well, the other ones are really high, so this one should be high too. But in fact, if you have really good flames, that means that the other one can settle lower because now your average is higher. So that means that you don't need to commit yet, and you can leave it where it is and just commit your money to other things first, and you can always come back and like start mass red flaming, because like 48 and 5 with a little bit of secondaries, of course not like best in slot, but if you have a 76 and 6 carrying and a 64 and 6 is also really solid, so you're in a good position.
Nice. With regards to CRA, I mean, I've heard conflicting things on when the best time to go 21 is in terms of like order.
Yeah.
Obviously, events are going to change that. Like if there was a shiny like next week, I'd probably just bomb it to 21 then.
Yeah.
But generally, like when do you think a good time to 21 star CRAs is?
Yeah, so if you look at the calc, you'll see that I think at 21, I think it's about a break even in costs, I think. Between 30% off and 5, 10, 15, like it's pretty close. And then if you're going 22, it's actually, I think, in favor of the 30% off, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Click a little bit, 16, and this one goes a little bit lower. It's still really close. The thing is, I think you need to look just under the mesos, and you need to look at the boom stats. What happens on 5, 10, 15 is like the average booms seems to be like anywhere between like 4 and 6 ish, around there. Which means that if you just get a little bit lucky and you lose one boom out of 6, you're like 16% cheaper, right? Because you're like losing one of the attempts.
Variance is a lot higher.
The variance is lower, I would say, during 5 to 15. Yeah, and during 30% off, because you have so many more booms, the variance is higher. So if you get lucky, it's way less likely to get decently luckier. And if you get unluckier, you could get way unluckier. Because just, you know, if the first one booms 21 to 22, and then it could just be like 14 more booms until you get to 21 again. Whereas on 5, 10, 15, that's very unlikely to happen. And it's not so much that it's really expensive or anything to boom a lot of CRAs. Like, that's not the expensive part. But going like between 16 and 21, like ping-ponging a bunch there is just really, really pricey.
Yeah.
And therefore, I would always advise to do anything past 15, always on a 5, 10, 15. But literally, unless you're just literally made out of money and you just don't care and you don't have the patience, or don't have the patience to wait, but you don't really need the patience to wait and you just want to click, then you can also just use the 30% off, basically.
So is 30% off just like strictly worse than 5, 10, 15 then?
Some people will use it between 20 and 22.
Yeah.
Because then you get the discount, of course. But I don't like that, because then if you boom, you're stuck with the 12.
You're just fucked.
And then you can get it back to 15, because that's when it's best for 30% off, right? 12 to 15, but then you're stuck at 15, and then you have to either commit again all the way up, or you have to wait for the next 5, 10, 15. So I like to use it at 5, 10, 15. I like to use 30% off pretty much exclusively for getting things up to 15. That's where I like it. So I'll if it's 30% off and there's not really anything to work on my main, I'll just look at boss mules or any other things. Get my CRA. You know, if they've done CRA, I have at least like 3-4 backups. I'll send all of that to 15, and then the next 5, 10, 15, I can tap that to 17, and then really get them online a bit more.
Gotcha.
That's how I use it. Yeah. But again, if you look at the calculators and you appreciate the numbers and you look at them for what they are, and then you're okay with the risk, then it's all you.
Yeah.
You do what you want. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. That's helpful. Yeah.
So
I don't know if you had anywhere you wanted. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I would like gross plans is I would definitely look at like no boom for all of the arcane stuff, and then go like in one fell swoop like everything to 15, and then wait up until a 5, 10, 15 to get everything to 17, and then like move in one go. It's probably what I would do. So it looks like if you save about 2 mil per piece, including the no boom and the 5, 10, 15, should get a 17 for each one of them. So that does mean that you have a little bit of freedom to play around with cubes. One thing, I don't think it's like 25 to 30% off, but I'm usually not as bothered waiting for a cube sale.
Yeah.
So if you know when the star forcing events are, and you're okay on the funds on what is like a reasonable upgrade thing to do there, then I think you're totally fine spending on cubes. But you're like at the point where you have quite a lot of projects going at the same time, so you'll have like, if there's a 30% off, you can do the fodder thing if you want to, right? You can start getting those ready up to 15. That won't be the priciest thing, so if you want to, you could use 30% off to work on your CRA as well, just so you don't have to do everything in one day. But like, yeah, you have like the no boom for the arcanes, you'll have the fodder for the superior, and I think like your ring situation, none of them are above 17, right?
No, they're all 17 or event rings.
Yeah, so it'd either be like crafting Meisters maybe before that time. Like no boom room is also great for getting Meister rings all up to 15 and getting them ready if you have limited amount of rings and Kana treasures, for example.
Yeah.
In a cheap way. I don't know how many primals you're at. Could you make some Meisters?
If I dug in and got to Meister Accessory Crafting, probably. I don't have the patience for that, or really the time. I think it's the consistency that's the problem, because it decays, right? After you get Master Craftsman.
Yeah, the decay went down quite a bit. It only starts decaying now. If you go to the highest rank, it only starts decaying after full 24 hours, and then it decays at like 400 per hour or something. So as long as you craft something at least once a day, you'll upkeep very easily. So as long as you build up a little bit of a buffer once you're in there. I linked the video in the chat as well on like how to get to Meister, because there's some things you can make at Craftsman that give you a lot of EXP for very cheap resources that you don't really use for anything else. Once you make the eye accessories, and you can get a lot of EXP from that. So it shouldn't be too bad to get up to Meister. I think in total only like 4 to 5 days, I think, up to Meister if you're really pounding it. So if you take a little bit of a slower approach, like a week or two, would definitely be enough. If you craft here and there. Just a lot of rings. Just prepare to extract a whole lot of rings.
Yeah.
But how are you for Eternals? Yeah, no, Primals. Sorry, you have some of those.
I have 5. Sorry, they're in my
storage probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in the production thing, can they go in there?
They're in the production bag. Yeah, I have 5 primals right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good amount, I would say, to craft, especially since your Kana treasure rings is only at 2. So you'll want to have as many of them as you can, because if you can get a Meister high and you can get a Kana treasure high, and you have then Meisters left over, then you can just use a Meister to transfer hammer into the superior. So you'll have more options then. Right.
Yeah, I've been relying on just getting treasure dupes. For superioring when that comes around, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you want to have enough coins for a backup there, so it's cool that you have an earring and a belt backup, so hopefully you can get 21 on both of those without needing to dig into your coins anytime soon, so that's cool. So then all of those coins can function as a universal backup in the same way that an armor box for Arcane would, as an undesignated universal backup, and then as long as you don't need it, that's cool, and if you do need it, then you can dig into it,
Okay. Yeah, I think right now I'm mostly farming coins for my sup ring, because I actually don't have one yet. I bought the first.
I see.
But yeah, that makes sense. After I get 4 set, that's probably what I'm going to be aiming to do, just accrue coins over
Oh,
time.
so you don't have a ring yet, but you've got like backups for the other 2 already. That's a situation.
Yeah,
I guess I just
this character
assumed.
took off really fast. Like I just haven't, like straight up, just haven't had enough days with Gollux to get 4 set.
I see.
And then part of that is because the account was so old, and I started at 6K Legion and during Destiny, so things just kind of took off.
Yeah. If you have an old Nightlord, I remember back in the day, like, you can get like a level 204 Nightlord or something, was just like randomly just soloing Helix because of the like Assassin's Marks, and you got like level 10 boostos or something, and you were golden.
You just run in.
It was a different time.
Second iframe with resistance, and then just one-shot it. Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, it's not as.
Since you're on my accessories right now, I did have a question for you. So, 2 of my accessories ended up becoming Meso Drop Gear, which is kind of frustrating. I transposed the Dominus Sweetwater somewhat prematurely. I think the Flame was like 65 and 5 or something like that. 67 and 5. I don't remember.
64.
Right there.
64.
Yeah. So I transposed it a little bit early, I'd say. But then it ends up getting Meso Drop, and I don't really want to roll over it because that's a pretty good pot. So I'm curious what your thoughts on accessories are, especially since I just haven't. Not that I'm upset, because it's like I've only been playing for 2 months, but I haven't gotten a Pat Mark or a Twilight Mark yet to replace my shitty boss accessories.
Yeah. So what does your set look like at this point? If you're, because this is exclusively Meso.
So yeah, 2 of those are repeats. The Sweetwater Pendant and the Tattoo are repeats. They're both Meso gear and damage gear.
And
I just don't
damage
have
gear.
anything better.
Yeah, and the other ones because they're double lined, and they're old gear. So your set is what, 5 Meso, 7 drop?
Yeah, something like that. Usually I just put all the Meso gear on and then like 1 or 2 lines of drop rate just to hit the cap. Sorry, to hit the Meso bag rate.
Right. You'd rather have
familiar.
more damage than extra drop because of you want your Assassin's Marks to be stronger, right?
Yeah. If I put on all drop gear, my Mark's 3-shot, I think.
Yeah, instead of 2-shotting. Yeah, that's a difference.
And then if I put damage gear on, then 2-shot, almost 1-shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one downside of not having switched into the arcane stuff yet. But once you have that, you might be able to move on more and then actually get more drop rate. And then even in Limina, they'll just melt.
Yeah. Without arcanes, I doubt I'll be able to go to Limina before like 260, unless I want my Marks to like 7-shot.
Yeah, those specific metrics. I don't know if you have any Nightlords in the chat, but it's you talked about
20 mil
here a little
range.
bit. Yeah, 20 mil at max nodes.
Yeah, at max arcane force, and I don't think that takes into account level gap either.
So at level, and then does that take into account Legion normal monster damage? Probably not, right?
No, or crit damage, I don't think. But I think it just assumes like 6 to 8k Legion. All those guys in there are like hard sweaters, so take all that stuff for granted.
Yeah, Nightlords tend to work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
Or they can't become the next Hokage, right? No rest.
So for accessories, I mean, I feel like accessories are probably my weakest point right now.
Yeah.
Just because I'm still using an aquatic for damage, which feels kind of bad at like 253.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I'm just not really sure how to proceed. I mean, obviously I can prage for a Pat Mark, but that might not come for the next like 5 years. I never know.
Have you not gotten any bean marks at all?
So I actually realized that I should probably be 17 starting a bean mark like 4 weeks ago, and then since then CPB just decided not to drop any for me.
Yeah, this is the classic. If I want it, I can get it, and if I don't want it, it's everywhere kind of situation. Yeah, and dinero wise, you have not been doing that, or?
Yeah, I fell off the train a lot after I finished transposing my pendant.
Yeah, the pressure is off.
I pretty much just pick it up whenever I have like a spare 10-15 minutes.
You've never built up the boat, or have you done that?
I don't think I've ever built the boat up. Does that actually matter?
So less and less, it depends. It's typically a daily that people hate, so building around the boat kind of pushes you into the point where you kind of have to keep going with it to capitalize on it, but then you can in a more cheap way, you can easily get 19 and 21 on the pieces and have plenty of backups, and that saves you from having the safeguard, and that brings you back your money that way. And if you max out your boat, you get more energy and more dineros per run. so you can do more runs. So you basically get, if you just spam like the easiest voyage, you do like 7 minutes of dailies or something, and you get close to 50 dineros once your boat is on the highest level. So every week you'll have like a pennant backup.
Gotcha. I think right now I haven't spent anything on boat upgrades, so I get like 33 a day from regular solo voyages, and then like 15 to 20 from CPQ.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the break-even point is like, if you get a bunch of bean marks, right, and you get lucky with an early twilight mark, and all you really have to do is like transpose one pendant, and maybe you're going up to 19, and that's kind of it, and then you're just like praying for a source of suffering forever, then you can really just do like the short approach, and you just, be able to afford 1 or 2 pieces, and you're good. Because like, the boat upgrade itself is quite costly as well. I think the first upgrade is 300, and then the second upgrade is 500. But then, but eventually you get past the break-even point. If you go past 19 stars, then it's definitely way better to rank up your boat.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Say worth going for Sweetwater stuff. Yeah, it's just like if you really really hate it, I'm not gonna tell you to do it because then it'll just be annoying. But you can get around it with like Black Bee Mark, with Twilight Mark. But you'll eventually want to transpose a pennant. That's already going to cost you quite a bit, especially if you boom past 17 quite a bit. And basically because it's a coin system, you basically have a fail-safe, right? Like you have a pity system in that you will get enough coins and you will always be able to afford it eventually if you just do enough runs. But like with Pap Mark or even with a Twilight Mark, like it's possible that you do 40 runs and you just never see it. Or with Pap Mark, possibly you do 200 runs and just don't see it. But that's never going to happen with Sweetwater. So it's a safer upgrade, but it's a more temporary one, I guess.
Going back to your point about Meister, not to be overly like optimizing, but I think the reason why I haven't pushed for Meistering specifically is just thinking about like realistically what my end game 4 rings are. Would probably be like Sup, Reinforced, Slime, and like either Con Treasure or Meister.
Or Oz.
Oz, right.
Oz in the weakest slot, yeah.
Hopefully, at some point.
So, well, definitely as a Nightlord, you want to get an Oz in there.
Yeah. I think my thought there is that, like, is your rationale for doing Meister just that, like, it's just another way to get 21, and if I get 21 on a Meister, it's probably cheaper in the long run than trying to pivot into, like, what is perceived, like best in slot? Or
yeah, it's one of the ways to definitely get a cheaper piece in slot to be able to get you up to the point where you need it, and it's also a good placeholder to make sure that once you get a slime ring, you don't feel too forced to immediately have to slam in like a 17 slime. But at that point, what you can do is if you have a 21 Meister, you've been using it, and even if it's like 21 or 24 or 27%, something like that, you can then use that as fodder into the Superior, and then tap the Superior, and then tap that into the Slime. So you'll still make use of the Star Force. It's never going to be lost.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
And then you can, temporarily use like a 20 Slime or something. There's nothing wrong with that either until you get more of those. 20 Slime is still really big, especially if you have the Twilight Mark at that point to get that 2-set bonus.
Yeah, the extra boss.
Yeah.
This might be a really stupid question. Can you get tier 7 attack on weapons with red flames?
No, it only goes up to 6 with reds.
Okay,
you need
gotcha.
Eternals for 7, yeah. And it's only 1% chance for Eternals as well, so it's
nice.
Low as chance, yeah.
Nice. Great.
If you use the cost calculator as well, like, and you put in like that you want tier 7, it'll just say like infinite cubes.
It's zeroed out. That's why I was asking.
Or like 0, yeah, exactly. It just say like it's not possible, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I was looking at my Iran because he has the fake arcane from last year, and just randomly his fake arcane is like tier 7++, and I don't know how I got that, honestly.
Okay, yeah,
so
nice.
I was trying to do the calc. I was like, did I just red flame this thing? Like, how did I get there?
So there are some other outcomes, right? So I've got the thing here now, but so like the tier 7s are technically possible if you buy it from an NPC or that you get it as a drop. It can actually go up to 7. So if you get like it as a compensation as a box and you open up the box, that's like getting the drop. So it's possible that it just comes with a 7. And it'll basically give you like an eternal roll, like essentially.
Right.
And it's also possible, or like a little bit lower, right? Because it goes 3 to 7, and then eternal roll is 4 to 7. So it's the same as if you use any type of the Eternal Flames, and also if you craft it or if you fuse it and you're a Meister. So that's why sometimes people are talking about like fusing cups.
Yeah.
But if you're fusing when you're just regular, when you're just like low level crafter, then you basically just get like tier 3 to 5. That's even less than a powerful flame. If you're Master Craftsman, you get the same outcome as a powerful flame, and if you're Meister, you get the same outcome as an Eternal Flame, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then here it shows like which flames you use, the amount of lines, and then the tiers up to 7. Yeah, so it's like 1%. Where's the Eternal Flame? Yeah, these are the standard ones. So it's like 29% chance tier 4, 45% chance tier 5, 25 tier 6, and 1% tier 7. And on a powerful, it's 20, 30, 36, 14. Yeah, that's why those costs are like getting a tier 6 on a Fafnir or an Abzo is like bare minimum, because it's like it's like 8 flames, you know, and then you already have a tier 6, and then hopefully it's the attack one. Yeah.
Right, and then you get some boss or damage or other stuff on top. Yeah.
Yeah, you get hit like a tier 5 damage and tier 6 boss, and then no attack. You're like, oh, nice. Thanks.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So cool. And this is basically just used as the input for all the calcs. Yeah, so in general, like so yeah, we were talking about like, so I would set this aside for no boom and 5, 10, 15. And then once you have weapon, that's definitely top, like flame priority and potential priority, obviously, way before you touch any other potentials. Maybe the cape potential can be touched a little bit, you know, because it's a little bit out there.
Yeah, I've just been tapping that one with
a little bit HP Kana vibes from 2000 and 2017 then 16. Pivot angle. And then after that, it'd probably be all of your CRA up to 19, and then all of it up to 21, like in one fell swoop. Okay. And then all the fodder stuff up to 21. And so I would go for like Meister and Kana treasuring for themselves to 21 first and use them as such. And then if you get like a third one, that'll like transfer down. And then by the time you get the slime and you want to go that whole route again, and you've got enough coins again to buy another superior, right? Because you have to wait for that. By that time, probably the Meister will kind of like have run its course, and then you can slam that over, and then hopefully you have enough coins and you don't need to buy that many, and then you can start thinking about like getting some stuff. Well, before you go 22s, I probably then at that point go back to the arcanes and get those all up to 19. Maybe except for the weapon, unless you get a weapon box at that point, that'll really be the crux there. And then it'll be CRA will be 21, and then everything else gets stepped up to 21, and then CRA 22, and then arcanes to 21 essentially, and then 22 everything. That's kind of like the idea.
Okay, no, yeah, that definitely makes sense. And then I guess in terms of pots, especially for weapon secondary emblem, and also I think we're coming up on time, so if you need to hop, that's totally fine.
Yep. We have a few more minutes.
But in terms of pots for those, obviously 3-line is a dream, but it's a bit of a pipe dream.
Yep.
Where does cubing, especially from our arcanes, like or I guess for these two as well, like where does cubing fit into all of that? Because I'm like comfortable with these pots right now. Obviously the crit rate is like a deadline for Nightlord, but I'm comfortable with everything else. But I'm just wondering how that fits in, because I was doing the calcs and it's like 30-40 bill for 3-line.
Yeah, for emblem alone, for secondary, if you really go like chasing 3-line attack, I think it's double.
Yeah.
I think you're getting closer to like 70-ish plus, and that's really when cube sales come in. So I would really look at like emblem 3-lining. I would look at that once you're, let's say, like 21 CRA superior, all the other stuff is like transferred all 20/21, and your next upgrade is like either getting the arcanes from 17 to 19 or sending your emblem. And then if there's a cube sale, send the emblem first. If there's a Star Force sale, do the arcane first, and then the other one after it, basically.
Gotcha.
I would put it around that part. As for the secondary, I mean, the secondary would be after that. But the question would be, are you going to just get another secondary and just mass red cube that? And then so you'll always be able to hold on to this pot, or are you going to have more than enough money? I mean, it's only like 1 bill extra to make another, to make another legendary.
It's probably just to cube a second Pinot Charm.
Yeah, and then if that one hits harder, then you can always like black cube this one or something to try to pull out some YOLO magic shenanigans.
Yeah.
Or I don't know how much this is going to be meta. Might be talking about my ass a little bit, but since I'm pretty sure damage percent objectively now scales better on normal monsters than attack. So it could also be possible that you want to go for like a 2-line damage, 1-line attack, or 3-line damage secondary at some point, so that you could kill more easily. Like if you have a legendary already lying around, could actually give you a substantial amount of damage. Like, because in most situations you'll end up with a 2-line attack, 1-line boss damage secondary, right?
Right.
But if you would replace that with like a 3-line damage or a 2-line damage, 1-line attack secondary, that would give you more damage when you're mobbing. And since you want your marks to get as much help as possible, that could be enough of a bump to get those guys to get some extra juice out of it.
That makes sense. I think it might be class dependent, maybe, because Nightlord has pretty low damage percent, so that actually makes sense that the 3-line damage would increase damage.
Yeah, the main move there was when the passive changed, right? The reboot passive change that made regular percentage damage way more valuable, but it's also a little bit skewed because the damage to normal monsters doesn't get added to your damage percentage, but then when you're attacking normal monsters, it gets added. So it looks better than it is, but it's still better than attack, probably. But you'll have to like delve into calcs. And I don't know if that means that like best in slot is to make like hyper burn, so you get a second emblem, so you can also get a damage emblem. I don't know how far that goes, but hopefully...
I'm probably going to do that, just to have a second emblem, just be able to tap on my own without losing this pot.
But any nerds out there want to do that math, go for it. New project for IT nerds who need to make a project for school. Dress it up like something else, but get on it.
Okay. No, that's actually helpful, because a big priority for me, on top of just like being able to do harder bosses, is moving to Limina. I don't really want to do that until my mark's like at least 3-shot. So having the extra damage will help, definitely.
Yeah,
assuming I don't get there with like arcanes and other stuff before then.
Exactly. Yeah, and some of the flames, especially like on the Abzo, weren't pushed to their limits, right? And then they'll get a lot better once you go into arcanes, and then you get way better bonus stats on arcanes, especially like once you go up to 19. It's like huge difference. I mean, I can show you. Yeah, this guy I tapped at 21, but like it's plus 87 on 21. Yeah, it's nasty.
I have no idea how to look at Demon Avenger Flames.
Yeah, like the attack. Oh, the flames. Yeah, you just don't really. It's just HP and weapon attack basically. They scale basically the same. So I just add the tiers and I try to be 10 or higher. So like 2 tier 5s or a 6 and a 4 or 4 and a 6 or anything above that. So this is a 6 and a 5. This is this is a 5 and a 5. This is a 5 and a 6, and this is a 6 and a 4, and that one doesn't have a flame, of course. So. Yeah, it's really easy. You just hit anything, keep, hit nothing, roll.
Yeah.
Like your shoe would be really good. You got HP, you got a decent tier HP and attack and some all stat, like chilling.
Right. For the arcanes, I guess this is my last question. I think everything else is, you answered everything else well, so thank you.
Yep.
When I was just initially flaming them, I was just looking for like a 120, which is, to my understanding, like really low. What do you think a comfortable min settle is for arcanes?
Yeah, on my grid, I have min settle at 125 basically. So like once you get into here, basically looking at like up to 270. I think if you're up to 125 on your initial arcanes, I think that's totally fine. And then realistically, you'll probably be looking into your like 135-ish once you get closer to like 275, and then everything 280 and above, you start pushing just everything past 140. But even that's pretty min maxy still. You'll just
probably
roll
digging
into
mostly like black and Eternals from event rather than just like buying red flames for that, right?
I did just like combinations of reds and Eternals until I got anything above 140, and then past that I'm planning to Eternal. But again, I don't know if that's 100% covered by maths. That's just kind of like how I'm doing it, and I was just hoping for that 1 in a million flame every now and then. But every single Smega seems to have like some 160, 170 plus flame score arcane gear, and that person has it like 17-star 2-line potential, and I'm like, fucking give me that flame. And I think my average flame is around 142 to like 144 or something. That's like where most of my stuff is at, which I mean, that's like black mage clearing very easily even at like 19 stars. So there's no real reason to push way past that.
Yeah. That's good to know. Cause yeah, I think I came in and I was like very min-maxy in terms of how I was thinking about it. And I also didn't have a good, because it's been a long time since I played, so I just didn't have a good scale of how strong you actually have to be to do certain things. Like my understanding was like, oh, Black Mage equals endgame, everything's 22 star and 3-line and all that stuff. And I feel like I'm learning that's not necessarily the case. So this is helpful.
Yeah, you have some party members who have like, tapped some 21s already. You'll probably be like Black Mage setup is probably going to be like 21 CRA. Probably your superior stuff and the other accessories are either like between 20 and 21. And then your arcane is either 17 or 19. And the potential's all good. WSE is probably at the point that you're at. But you'll have an arcane weapon there instead with a better flame. So that'll take a whole lot of extra damage. And then it's mainly just practicing the Black Mage and being at least level 270. And then probably for you, an Ozring is going to be... Roar is going to be pretty important. If you don't have a Roar, then everything else needs to be bumped up like at least a whole star to make up for that. So the Roar is really high value there.
Yeah. At least just give me a reflective ring, man. Whale is fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's not... You don't love it? Come on, bro. Everyone in chat loves the Pinot Whale. It's a highlight of the stream. That's why I do it 6 times a week.
Pinot is such a nightmare in Nightlord because fucking Showdown does 4 lines, so the second stage takes actually like 20 years. It's
Wait, don't you have Dark Flare? Oh no, you don't get that. Wait, you do?
Oh, yeah, we have Dark Flare, but it's like one extra line.
Yeah, but if you put Dark Flare, it reflects on the whale, right? Yeah.
Oh, does it reflect? I thought it just did damage to it.
Oh, it doesn't reflect anymore? Oh, it used to, dude.
No, it doesn't reflect
It used
anymore.
to, yeah. You would just put the Dark Flare and just stand there and just like tap dead. It used to be... Nightlord was destroying it, but they removed that apparently. Okay, rip.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say one thing. Like the BA that you have, if you're going to use that for entry for like Hard Lucid, Hard Will stuff, everything beyond now, it's better to use the... because you say like levels 1, 0 PDR, no elemental resistance. It's better to use the one at the level of the boss that you're doing.
Okay, so like 235-ish, I think, or 250?
So 230 for Lucid and 250 for Will.
Okay.
And to do like the full PDR, like the 300 PDR and elemental resistance, and to use that number. Because if you say 5 trill under these measures, is very, very different from under the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was told this was closer to like Straw, which is like not accurate in any way to any actual bosses, but like just kind of the standard. But that makes sense.
Yeah, it's an old standard that basically was there because when Lucid came out, she didn't have any elemental resistance.
Would you recommend doing it at the same arcane power then as well, like the same arcane requirement?
So I was talking about this with Hamza yesterday with Dookie. That it's a good idea that we get to the point where we kind of get to a consensus on which BAs are even relevant. What's the point of them?
That's what I was confused about.
And then which settings we should do.
I just didn't know which one was good.
My working process at this point is do it at monster level, do it at the base amount of the arcane power of the boss, so that you could get extra bonus damage out of that if you have extra. And then at the PDR of the boss and the elemental resistance of the boss, and that's your BA. And then once you get to V-Hilla, you do more of a just full damage rotation based on the party you're going to be in. So if you're at a 2-minute setup, well, you're probably going to be looking for parties with 3-minute setup, right? With Akana, and then just binding every 3 minutes with domain. And then you'll basically just do a full 3-minute BA, and that'll be the same for Black Mage as well. You just shift the level and shift the... Well, you don't even have to shift the arcane... Oh, and shift the arcane power. And that's basically going to be it, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. That all makes sense.
Yeah. We'll talk about... I'll probably talk to Hamza about it, maybe talk to some other people about it, what they think is a reasonable... Because, there's like 14 different standards for BAs flying around, and then some people are using
I've heard
their
so
guild
many
skills and then using that. And then as long as everyone uses the same one and we know what we're talking about, then... And it's been like, and then that number means something for certain bosses. Like, as long as we have that translation from A to B, then it's fine. But if everyone uses different shit, then it's really, really hard to comparing apples and oranges and planets. And it's like, I don't know what this number means. Yeah.
Well, I haven't failed out of one yet, so that's something.
Yeah, you can always
I don't know if
also
I'm
just do
contributing,
a
but-
you could do well exactly. You could also just do BA on the like final stages as well, for example, with everyone, and then just
Right.
kind of see how much damage everyone does and see if it's like remotely close. But if you do a really fast P3, the numbers could be all over the place as well, because some people could still be popping their burst by the time the bar's already down to like bar 2 or something, and then they
Yeah,
don't.
a lot of the P3s that I've done,
just instant.
like I'm finished popping my buffs and it's like at bar 4 or 3.
Yeah.
Like I can't actually tell like what my BA is because
Yeah, okay, yeah. At that point, it doesn't even really matter what BA everyone has, as long as everyone's just throwing whatever they have at any given time at the boss, you're good.
Right.
You go from that point where everyone has to be exactly everything off cooldown. Make sure you keep a cleanse for charging the domain, you know, during the last bar. Make sure you call out the timing for mid platform and top platform and everything. You go from that to like, do at least 1 or 2 people have their burst? Yeah, okay, we're just bind it and send it, you know. It's we've come a long way with Hard Lucid. It's gone from being the peak of the mountain.
I was not.
to,
I wasn't expecting to be able to get arcanes this early. Like when I started, I told myself like I'm just gonna be casual 17-star Absol gamer, and then 2 months later, I got my first arcane drop. I was very surprised.
Well, the fact that you said like I've already done like 7 runs and but my weapon didn't drop yet. I'm like, you're aware that I have like characters that were like running for like a year and a half, and like, they don't have one yet either.
I don't think I'm upset about that. I was just like, I got a bunch of.
You're in a good situation, yeah.
And now it just hurts because it's like every time I get a box and it's an armor box, it's like,
yeah, you're gonna learn to love that when you're at 17, because then it's just free backup, and then you might just get sent up to 19 just for one piece, and then you're golden. Then you can start getting a little bit of backups of everything. If you need extra backups, always do gloves. Gloves boom. You can ask anyone in late game and end game.
I got an extra backup and I got the glove just because I knew it would boom.
Yeah, gloves just. There's one guy who boomed 14 gloves and never saw 20, and then he quit.
Yeah, that's a quit angle for sure.
That just destroys all of your goodwill.
It's mostly because I just bombed so much money into getting 2 on crit that I felt the need to get a dupe for it. Just because I felt like that was the first thing I was going to try to get to 17 outside of my weapon, or 21 or whatever.
Yeah, definitely people also push the glove the most because you want that crit damage in there. So it's maybe a little bit of a bias, but it seems to. They seem to like booming.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other piece that you were wondering about. Black Mage badge.
Oh yeah. Grats on source today, by the way.
The book.
I know it's coming.
Yeah, you know it's coming today? Okay.
Early grats.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Don't jinx me.
No, I think that's it. This has been really helpful. I mean, I have a lot to work on.
We got some double meso with damage. Yeah, going meso gear Cernium for Nightlord is probably pretty rough, right? Cernium burning.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't even mathematically one-shot Arcus yet. Like, nobody's been able to do it. Cernium is probably a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, especially if you over-level and get some final damage off of that. That's a big scaler. But yeah, you'll need time to build up the symbols anyway, so I'm guessing you'll be in Limina quite long building up the FAMs, right? Especially if you said you've gone so fast in levels that your symbols aren't even there yet, then you probably need time for familiars as well.
Yeah, I'm still missing large drop fam and HP fam and all that stuff. So
yeah,
definitely gonna be in Limina for a while.
Yep.
With regards to drop rate, I mean, I guess this is my last question on my end. When do you think it's worth it to push, if ever, for like double drop stuff? Specifically double drop, because I don't think I have any issue with Meso Obtained right now. Like personally, I've never actively pushed for double drop. They just kind of happened by trying to min-max on the existing stuff to make sure there's always like a line of stat plus a line of drop, for example. And then eventually like some double drop just happens, and you really only need, what is it, only 2 double drops? No, 9. You only need 10 lines, right? So you only need 1 double drop to make to technically get your 200% max, because you have 9 accessories. Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
And if you were like specifically looking for a double drop, I think it's probably actually not worth, because I think it's somewhere in the lines of like 18 bill or something on black cubes.
Yeah.
Like at one time I was trying to go for it because I rolled a second 22-star superior on my arc, because I was doing the same thing that I was talking to you about, right? Like with saving the potential, but doing it on the backup instead first, and then tapping the existing one, and both of them went. So I was like, oh, I can roll the other one for double mezzo, so then I have a really strong mezzo piece in Grandis.
Right.
And then I looked up like, oh, it can't be that bad. And it's like, holy shit. Like even with black games, it's really bad. Damn. I think it was something like 18 or something. It was not amused. If you're like specifically looking for, if you look for a combination,
specifically two-line drop. Yeah, if you're looking for a combination, it's like not nearly as bad. I think.
Or like median is 12.5 and average 17.8. Yeah, and any kind of combination of the two, then it's like 3 to 4.5. Like
it's 3 to 4, I think. Yeah, it's way better.
Well, I think on my account, probably like 85 to 90%. Maybe even 90% plus of all of my double drops, like drop mezzo combination stuff, is all just from red cubes, from just rolling so many times.
Just randomly rolling.
Yeah, they just show up. Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense.
Yep. Okay. Well, good luck with everything. You've got a really solid setup. Those arcanes already are prepped quite nicely. Reminds me very much of my Demon Avengers situation, where I also had like all the pieces already worked on the potential. And then you just need those Star Force event and just send them up, and yeah, it'll be a very cozy, very nice upgrade. The stat, like the attack, will be relatively similar to Abzo because on the low amount of Star Force, but the attack, the stat will be big increase, especially with the bigger flames.
And also just because my Abzo flames are just like garbage.
Yeah.
So that inherently is a huge upgrade.
Yep. Well, you want them to be garbage, so that's a good thing. That saves you more money to send it to the higher level stuff. But then definitely once you get your like CRA to 21, and if you can work on the other accessories, and then arcanes up to 19, like between that and there, it's like easily 10k stat, like in total in your stat window.
Oh wow.
Because now you're at like scratching 30, you'll be like 40, and then if you make that last jump, you'll be like approaching 45 to 50 very quickly.
Nice.
Because arcane symbols will bring in some more, and then the sacred symbols will start bringing in some stat.
Right.
Before you know it, 75k stats solo Nightlord. Oh no, wait, 75, 65 solo Black Mage. Just do a roar 4. But yeah, the roar is going to be huge for you to people who get like early roars on Nightlords can actually really underfund their character and still hit all the benchmarks, and then just save up for those huge upgrades instead and be very efficient at that. That's really valuable on the roar, but yeah, most people are gonna take a while.
I got a roar 1, but I threw it away out of spite.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that in my inventory. That's just.
I got a roar 1. I've got a roar 1 and a weapon jump L1, and I've just tossed both of them because it's just painful to look at.
I mean, is that like a 17-star without potential, kind of on in terms of scaling?
Yeah, it's just like
doesn't even. Yeah.
It's just so ugly.
Yeah.
Like I see it, and then you scroll over it, and it's level 1. It's like, okay. Great.
Yeah, now you have the icon in the box, right? You can see which level it is.
Yeah.
But like in the past, it would just be the ring. You'd be like, oh, and you hover over there. Oh. Immediately, like, punch monitor rage levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, I wish you get a weapon jump 4L. But you only can get Ls now as well, right? So that's good. And
oh, I didn't know that. You can actually only get Ls now?
Or yeah, you only get your own main stat now anymore, yeah, from the weapon jumps.
That makes things so much better. Slightly
okay. I think weapon jump 4 for another stat is. It's like, why?
In reboot, yeah, you're just.
Yeah, in reboot, just such a dead weight. Yeah, no, at least I got it. But yeah, I wish for roar 3 or 4 for you, and then you can take it a little bit more easy on everything, and then just wait for those events and just send it.
Sounds good.
All right, best of luck.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too. Bye bye.
All right, so a quick gear overview, progress, the next step, lots of stuff to work on. And you're really in the sense here where you're just waiting for whatever falls into your lap, and then that's the projects you work on. So in this case, typically you'll have 21 CRA by the time the arcanes all fall in your lap, but like you said, he had an older account and he got lucky with some of the stuff that was already available, and with an armor box here and there, so you can get to this step a little bit faster. But in general, it'd be like getting your CRA up to 21, and then you work on arcanes, and as you're working on arcanes, you basically look at the backups, and as you see here, like you get a bunch of kind of treasure rings, cool, then you work on a kind of treasure ring to 21. You get a bunch of Dominator pendants, a bunch of reinforced earrings, you work on the fodder to 21 for your superior. The typical order is belt first because of pink bean belt access, of course. And then one of the rings, either Kana Treasure, Meister, combination of the two. And then earrings and pendants is usually after that. And then, you know, once you're done with all of that, then the arcane should be ready. And then depending on backups of arcanes, you send up the arcanes. And it's really, as long as your potentials is all 2-line, maybe the accessories go to like 2.5-line before you start making everything 21, right? But if everything is 2-line legendary, you're like golden. You don't really need to work, really wait on those cube sales too much. Really use the cube sales just for like min-maxing on your WSE, I would say. Or if you're past that point and you're trying to 3-line everything, then cube sales are really valuable. But other than that, most of the cubing, personally, I do off event, honestly. But yeah, like you said, typically at the end of the year in December, there around Black Friday, there's typically a cube sale, and then so Black Friday is that supposed to be in November? When is Black Friday? Black Friday 2022, November 25th. And because usually we have DMTs around March, July, December, roughly. And it seems in the current years what they've done is they've had the cube sale about a month before the DMT. So that checks out if the DMT is around Christmas, is around December 25th, then you'll have the cube sale, the 30% off on packs of 30 for red and black. Typically have that around Black Friday, so that pattern makes sense. But again, don't 100% count on it because it's not officially confirmed, but keep it in the back of your head and plan around that in case it does happen, basically. Cool. Other than that, I hope you guys got some good information if you were in a similar situation or you're going towards a situation and you were looking for advice when you get there. We'll circle back to the BA things. That's still a command that's under request in the channel as well, so I will look at that in the near future to try to kind of get to the bottom of what makes sense here to have as the requirements. And yeah, again, as always, you can use all of these commands through my Twitch channel. Of course, some of this stuff isn't directly mine, but I'm using a lot of it. Sakar's calculators are very useful for a bunch of stuff, so you can definitely use those. Also consider donating if you use this a lot, like I have as well, because I use it way too much. Just like Orange Mushroom, also supporting on Patreon because he brings out a lot of good stuff there. And what else? Yes, if you would like one of these sessions, check the description of the video. If you'd like to win a free one, make sure you leave a comment saying that you would like to win. Include your Discord name so I can reach out more easily, because DMs and replies on YouTube are kind of easy to get lost in. And then you can get one of these sessions for free with me, a longer version or shorter version, whatever you want. And I draw 2 winners at the end of every month. So the end of the month is already coming up. In the week, it's already going to be October. And then we'll only have 2 months, and it's going to be 2023 already. 3 months, right? October, November, December. 3 more months. I'm going a little bit too quickly, but already the last 3 months of the year already. It's flying by so fast. But yeah. Stay tuned. I'm trying to finish off all of Project CRA so I can work on Project website, because that's been waiting for way too long as well. But yeah, tune into the stream, twitch.tv/Scardor. I stream there every day, or I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, damn it. I thought that was the end of the song. One more? Beautiful. All right. See ya. Bye.